situation. Is that what you meant? Like, is there ever a dictatorship, or is there ever?
No. You answered the question. Who brought these in? Did Michael just bring
Michael brought those in. I don't know if he swiped them outside somebody's door or something. I can just see it.
You should save that as an heirloom.
You know? Yeah, I should.
Michael Street gave me this fruit basket. Okay. You wanted to talk about, I can combine a bunch of these. On stage, cool. Okay. You could cover your miking system through...
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. There was one minor thing I did mean to mention. I kind of find the producer and myself,
yep,
when we go in to cut the tracks, okay, we try and get the drums off, get a nice, energetic bed track, and get lots of those on, laid down, and then the bed tracks are done.
Yeah.
So you put a lot of demand on the drums. So there's that pressure when you first start the session. What I find myself and the producer is almost like the coach on a team when he walks out to the mound, mm-hmm, and he asks the pitcher, "How's it going?" Mm-hmm. After you worked all day and you get a little tired at night, and you've laid the track down 4 or 5 times and you're real close, but you don't quite have it.
Yeah.
Maybe you haven't thrown enough strikes, right? And he walks out and checks you out, and rather than pulling you out of the game, come on, give you a little pep talk. A lot of times, we work that way with Bruce, our producer. Mm-hmm. He'll come out on these albums, and the previous albums that we've used. He'll come out and, just see, how you feeling, Matty? You doing all right? You want to take a coffee break or get some air or anything?
Yeah.
And just say, just loosen up in that one spot. That's okay. It's real good. But that one fill just before the second guitar solo is a bit busy.
Yeah.
If you want to maybe just play half that, or just lead up to part of that busyness, maybe just play half that and then lace it for one bar and then out. Mm-hmm. So that would probably sound a lot cooler,
Yeah.
And then him talking to me, I go, yeah, maybe you're right. I like that kind of rapport, and that's the kind of thing that is real good. A producer working with the drummer and keeping tabs on his energy, seeing when he's tired, whether they're working him too hard or,
mm-hmm,
That's the way we work anyway, is that we don't do one bed track and then do a bunch of guitar solos and keyboard solos and vocals, and then 4 days later do another drum track. The way we've done it so far is going in and do all the bed tracks and get them out of the way. I don't know if that's going to be the case for album number 4, because we're going to take quite an extensive break next time, mm-hmm, and record over a longer period of time. There's a chance of us taking a year off and really, really bearing down and maybe recording in different studios, maybe doing some different things. But up to now, that's worked very well for us. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that energy between the producer and myself is kind of like him keeping tabs on me, watching my energy, watching my headspace, whether I'm tired. Take a break, Matty, go home. You're useless.
And if
we've got enough out of you today, I think you should come in tomorrow about 1 o'clock, and we're going to do guitar solos tonight or something.
And if he's got a suggestion to you, I'll usually do it by like a compliment, then a suggestion, and then another compliment.
I think that's healthy. I think that's the way people should communicate. Like we were saying earlier about bands working together and working on a song. It's all applicable to even when you're successful and you're working with producers.
Hey, that's.
I don't know if I'd want to work under that kind of situation. Where one guy comes in and he says, "Okay, we're doing it my way, mm-hmm, and you're going to play the song like this."
Mm-hmm.
And when you get to the drum fill, your 4 bars, I want a straight roundhouse, digga 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 digga, bo 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 bo, crack, boom,
right,
boom. And that's going to be the best for the song, and that's it. And you're thinking, God, that's not what that's not
yeah.
So I guess it just depends as you learn, maybe the more control you get over your situation, if the band becomes more successful, maybe you have more control to turn around and tell the guy to shove it up his ass.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Say, this is what we like in the band. And say, well, you hired me to be your producer, and I'm being paid X amount of dollars by a record company. I'm going to produce this record, and if I say that's the lick that goes in here, that's what goes in. Or you can find somebody else. Then you get to that situation, right?
That's horrible.
I heard old stories about the Kinks and stuff, those old, they're just horror stories of some of the story. I just go, oh man.
Working under those situations, You wanted to talk about your monitor system, which is great, and maybe could you tie that in with talking about how you mic, maybe like specifically what mics you're using on different parts of your kit on stage?
Yeah, only ones I don't know is my overheads.
Okay.
The monitors are, I love them. Actually, the sound system we use is Audio Analyst, mm-hmm, out of New York. We've used them 3 years now, 2.5 years. We use one of their monitor mixers, and even when we go to other countries and we don't take the sound system, everything over, right? We use sound systems over there. We take Rocky Holman, our monitor mixer, and he mixes us wherever we go on other systems too, right? So if we do, say, a big concert and Kinks are headline and Foreigner and Loverboy, blah, 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 like that, and there's a different, system, Kinks' system, he'll come and do our monitors, and we won't have our normal system. And he usually gets a real good sound and gets the mix happening. And I run a pretty expensive mix. I run everything that you would just about get in the house or like a record. I have my kick, snare, just toms, because I get enough leak from that for any cymbals that I would need, but I don't really want to put cymbals in there. Or hi-hat. I get enough leak from the snare mic to pick up hi-hat. And I have bass guitar, and I have guitar, and all of the keyboards, and vocals.
Wow,
Michael's
you got a lot
vocals.
of stuff coming through there.
And I have the sax when the sax break comes up.
Yeah.
And that's what I run. So it's pretty extensive. So I have like 5 keyboards in there. And I run it so that vocals are on top, and the snare and kick are nice and fat, nice big, kick sound. And then the bass guitar just above that, and then guitar maybe just around the bass guitar, so I can hear everybody's instruments. And we take 2 hours in sound check, sometimes an hour and a half.
Wow.
And go for a good sound. Although it's varying on the hall, but once you got it after a month of touring, it pretty well. When you go in now, it's just cut and dry. You go in and get levels, and they all basically, the sounds are the same. And certain volumes, maybe key parts, Rocky will boost certain little key parts where I need, say, in the middle of strike zone, there's a little glockenspiel thing that Dougie has a setting on one of his keyboards, and there's just drums and that going on, and I need that as a booster just to in that one middle part. So there's a lot of intricate little things going on. So you really play a lot off your monitors, and I have two 18-inch speakers and a horn and a tweeter rather than 12s or any of that. I find that I get a nice fat kick drum sound. That's so important to me, to have the bass drum nice, soft but hard, like the attack off the beater, but have it so it's round and it has a bit of a pillowy sound, so there's tone rather than just whack. I find that not very inspiring, and I tend to lay back, and it makes it a bit too not inspiring. You don't have that dynamic range, I find, with it, where you can lay back and play it nice and soft or play it strong.
No tone. It's like a musical note.
Yeah, it's like a coffee table.
Yeah.
A
Simmons notes.
Yeah. So, I really strive for that, and I don't run them very loud. I have them at a pretty normal level. Because I know a lot of drummers that really have just drums in it, say maybe louder than anything, and I can't see how they can direct the band or be any part of the band without having all the instruments. I find that very important for me, to have all the instruments, so that if you're going along and you have a little inflection and a little keyboard thing, you want to maybe accent it with a little bell thing. Those are the little things, like, Stevie Wonder, that going back to that, it's like, oh, there's a little lick. That's the different little thing I'll do in the arrangement. Play the same pattern as the album, but maybe do a little ding 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 if he did this little keyboard thing. And I got to hear that in order to play with it. And that's the kind of thing that keeps the song spontaneous sometimes, and keeps that life, so the songs aren't the same every day. So when you're on the road for 10 months, it just turns into a job, and I never want it to ever be that way. So that's why I like quite a in-depth mix out of my monitors.
Have you ever forgotten a tune or a part of a tune? Yeah.
I've hit blanks. To count it in, sitting there and everybody's waiting for you, and you're going, what's the tempo of this song? Right? It's like, and you go on to count it, and they go, come on. And I'm just going, what is it? I'm looking for the song list. Oh God, finally somebody else had just counted in, and I'll just kind of fall in and go, oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's happened a couple times. Just totally weird. You hit a blank,
On stage, then you don't lock in any one guy. It's all different depending on what's happening in the tune. Like, you're not just, I listen to the bass player.
Yeah, right. No, I have everybody in the mix. Okay. And I always like to make sure I can hear Michael's vocals, because if you feel that he's pushing or the band's getting real loud, if I feel like he's straining, I'll pull back.
Yeah.
I'll bring the band back. So if I can't hear that, then we're just going to push and push, and that's that dynamic range I was talking about, like from song to song.
Right.
Even though he's got great monitors, and everybody has their monitors, and Scotty has drums in his way on the other side of the stage, and Dougie has his. You can play off that, but I still believe in the big concert situation, you should still have dynamics. Even with the with the loud music that you're playing, and rock and roll, that's a little bit of class we like to try and keep in the music and a bit of finesse.
That's unique. Not a lot of bands do that.
No, I know.
Dynamics.
And I try forever and ever to keep a grasp on that, no matter what. If I go deaf playing this goddamn thing, but I always ask my monitor mixer, how loud am I tonight? And he'll go, you're fairly loud, and I'll say, just bring it down then. He said, well, sure. And I say, yeah, just bring it down. And then just start from there again.
So you can't tell from your monitors how you're sounding to the audience in relation to everybody else in the band? Could they have you cranked up
in the house mix?
In the house mix, and you still sound relatively...
Yes.
They can't do that.
Yeah. He could be mixing the drums real hot, and maybe the keyboards aren't coming out as well. But then, that's the house mixer's gig, and he shouldn't be doing that. But I can feel the PA in most rooms. I can feel the tom fill. He has a sub mix, so he'll have all the toms patched to one mix.
Right.
So when there's a big fill, woof, he'll boost that fill, and it'll come out, and I'll feel that out of the PA, and then he'll pull that back again for any just sort of normal coloring chops. And
are you using noise gates on your tom mics?
As a matter of fact, we are. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is real good. That cuts any noise problems.
Yeah.
Just like the studio. So especially your big floor toms. My 18.
Yeah.
And then it'll suck it. But in the beginning of the tour, we were using them. It took a little while to get used to. They had the gates too tight. So what would happen is if I tap the drums, it can take me to the top. There's some real light stuff. And in my solo, I start off kind of light and just build.
Yeah.
And I get the tape back from that night, and I listen to it. There's no drums. All I'm hearing is I'm doing this doodly 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 doodly, this triplet thing with the snare. With the kick and tom, 13, 16. I'm going.
Right.
All I'm hearing is bop, 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 bop. I'm going, where's the toms? I freak out on my house mix. I go, where's my toms? He says, well, they're there. So I said, well, we're getting a mix right off the board. So I said, why don't we open the gates up and just, because I guess, he said, you're playing light there, aren't you? And I said, yeah, I'm just building up.
Is that what the audience heard too, you think?
Possibly, yeah, I would say so, yeah. So they're just kind of getting the kick, like just rocking away, and they're not hearing the tom thing, right? Until I really stomp it, until I really lay into it.
Yeah.
So that happens a lot.
Let's talk about drum solos a little bit. How you feel about them? No big deal?
Well, I'm really not into it.
You feel it's kind of an obligatory thing because, or obligatory, how do you say that? Whatever.
I'd say, yeah, in a roundabout way. I like them. It's a fun thing, but I'm not really, not with the concept of this band. I personally I feel that I have enough spotlights in the night through the songs in different segments that there are like a little mini drum solo in that spot. You know what I mean? It's like our material. I'm not just playing stock 2/4 throughout the whole night, and just kind of, and then my chance to shine in a solo. I like the solo for the kids, and I actually play a second song right after the second song is a drum solo, but it's real quick and it's kind of flurry and there's a few little dynamic things. It's condensed, and I like that for myself. I don't like to get into a big long thing and go through every lick I've ever learned in all my life, and go through a big slow down spot and then do bop do bop do 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 bop do. I like to play a lot of the drums, like the tonal spectrum of the kit, from the 6 to the to 18, and the different cymbals. My two China boys, and I like to give them that tonal spectrum of the kit without any other the music going on, and then get out and get into the song. And that's kind of it's small little feature, and it's kind of like a shot in an arm more than anything for the set. It kind of just catapults that next segment to go that next level dynamically for the set to lift, and that's how I look at it. But as for drum solos, it's not really. I used to do a lot in groups in the old days, real long things, but then the bands were, not as flashy as the Loverboy bands. So some groups do them, and then, double bass drums, and the guy goes through everything, but I'm not really into it. You asked me about mics.
Yeah.
I think we use Shure's. Live, we use Schurz and all toms, SM58s. And on the snare, we have Schurz on the snare too. 57 and a 58, I believe, on top and bottom.
Top and bottom live too, yeah?
And we have a Neumann in the kick drum, and they call it RE20s.
Yeah.
And
round sort of thing.
we have a Sennheiser 421 on the timbali. We have a Shure on the cowbell. We have
SM58 on the cowbell too.
No, actually, that's a that's a 58. 57. I'm not sure. They're so close, though, aren't they? I think the only difference is just the windscreen thing or something.
Yeah.
Now for cymbals.
What is your cymbal set? Can you give a quick rundown?
I have. I'm endorsed with Zildjian. I love it. The great company, and I've played Zildjians for ever and ever and ever and ever. And
since my 20s.
Yeah, right. I have a 21-inch rock ride and 15-inch quick beat hi-hats, air release on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And I have on my left to right in stereo again. We have a 16-inch medium crash, and then we have an 18-inch medium heavy crash, 18-inch medium thin crash, and in the middle between the 13, 14-inch toms, between the two 18 crashes, is a 10-inch splash, and then I have a 17 medium crash, which I like. I like the odd size in the back, and I have that's a 20-inch low China Boy and an 18-inch low China Boy up top. Above that, that's her.
Okay. And so you mic those with the overheads?
Yeah, there's two big overheads. God,
can't remember what they are. They're the ones that look like the little skinny mic.
No, they're not that at all. These are great big black fat.
We can find out.
You can do this off the record and then find out, and I'll let you know, and we'll make it sound like I knew what it was.
Okay, yeah.
They might be a Sony. They're black and they have this weird screen on the end, right? They look kind of old-fashioned looking almost, and you sit in these.
I think I know the kind you're talking about too. They almost look like the mics that the old sports announcers used to
Yeah, almost, and they've got such a wide pan. There's only two, right? And they cover this whole side, and this whole side, and then we have a separate ride mic, which is a pencil, a little like a condenser, like a Sony something or other ED. It's got all these weird.
I know. Trying to keep up.
Oh man! So we run one for that, and so we run tom mics on the top.
Yep.
All the way around, separate. Each drum has its own channel.
And noise gate.
Yep.
And those are the only ones with the gates on them. The tom mics.
Yeah.
Not on the snare.
No. And we run. We have some effects. We have what do they call it now? You know, it's like a lexicon, but they call it something else. It fattens up the snare and gives you that nice. It gives it some breadth, some ambience to it. You know. What do they call it? 220 or something.
I don't know. What's the effect you used on the record, the new record, with the opening song, which sounds like
Hot Girls in Love?
You know?
Okay, here we go. Specifics. All right, I like it. You're not talking about the snare drum like in the opening of Hot Girls. That's just the phasing.
Is that what it is? It's it reminds me, remember the song Itchy Coo Park?
Oh, yeah, right.
When the drums sounded like they're taking off.
That's neat.
Yeah. So it's just a phase thing?
Yeah.
How you doing? You got to use the powder room or anything like that?
No, I'm doing just great.
Okay. This one might be a good thing to talk about. Just as far as like in terms of promotion, okay? Again, for people that are coming up and trying to become known. And maybe you could talk about just some of the things that you guys did as individuals in promoting the band, and then also like as a collective things that help get bands.
We did a lot of promotion.
Did you?
And I think you still always have to do a lot of promotion, you know, no matter how big you get. I don't think you should ever leave people out, you know, radio stations. We went to so many radio stations and interviews and paper and, you know, go and see the jocks and take time in the afternoon before sound check or whatever and go down and see the jocks and go on the air and did a lot of contests, you know, and stuff like that. And the whole band would be out in one day and hit like 2 or 3 stations in a city, you know, and I really think that's very important. Even at this level, we still do it. And we meet press every day before a show.
Do you?
We meet up to 30 people some days. And that's, well, we're sponsored by Sasan on this tour. And they're doing our 83 tour, which is great. and they're doing an excellent job of promotion, and they have a lot of contests. So what they do is, you come and meet, you can meet the band, win a contest, and they'll have people that they'll have 15 or 10 kids, that have won to see the band backstage, and say some shirts and a record, and get to come back and have some pictures and sign some autographs and that kind of thing. And that's really important, to stay in touch with that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a bit exhausting doing that much press, but so we have the radio station people, and we have some paper people, and then we have all the contest winners and that. And we do that every night before we go on, not after.
Before you go on.
Yeah, we get dressed, and then we spend maybe half an hour, 45 minutes meeting the press, as we call it. And we have a hospitality room, and we come by and say hello to everybody. And I think you need that personal touch, and we've always kept that as a philosophy in the Loverboy thing. Is keeping that. And our management's always worked hard at that in our record company, to do as much promotion as possible. And doing interviews, a lot of phoners and that kind of thing. And
you feel like you have to be a salesman?
Yeah. An actor, a musician, an athlete, a businessman, and a promotions rep. I mean, you really do. You have to cover a lot of grounds.
Yeah.
I think it's the only way. I mean, it's a business. It's a good business, but it's a big business. I mean, the music industry is it's huge. I mean, this is the biggest touring summer right now in 5 to 6 years. What's on the road right now? This last summer that's just gone by, intense. I don't know how the kids could really afford to go and see all the shows that have been on the road this year. And we've been really lucky. We've been doing great. Our shows have been selling out, and we've been doing really well. We haven't had to drop any shows. I mean, I don't think I'll mention any names, but I know 2 or 3 groups right now that have had some troubles this year come out, with albums that haven't done that well, and have had to drop the whole tour, man. And that's pretty scary to think that 2 years ago they were number one or huge, like drawn huge. And I mean, it shows you how fast it can go, and how quick you could be there, and how fast it can go too.
Yeah.
And that's the very scary thing about striving for it. And I think that I don't know what to say about that, but.
What about the guys? There's been criticisms towards bands. I think the Who were the first ones that got slammed for tying in with corporations, like what the Who did, I think, with Miller Beer or something, and
Stones have worked with people, like with Jovan. I think,
yeah. Clapton did it with the cigarette company.
Camel. Yeah. Well, we didn't want to go with anything like, say, a beer or a cigarette company.
Yeah.
We had lots of offers. There was Budweiser and stuff like that. That just goes with the image of the band. Okay? It's a pretty healthy band, healthy image, and the demographics that we're looking at.
Yeah.
And
as I'm about,
as he's about to light up. No problem.
I'm quitting soon.
Yeah.
I'm working my way down.
But we just didn't feel that was suitable for the band.
Why did they do that? Why does a band? What's the advantage of working with a company like Cymbal? Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes.
Close, right?
Right. We're involved with them because of there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of groups on the road right now, and ticket prices get sometimes extraordinary.
Yeah.
And we really felt that we wanted to try and keep everything at a reasonable cost to the public. And when you're on the road and you have merchandising, and you're selling T-shirts and programs and scarves or whatever, and you have your ticket price. Plus they have their vices that they want to get up for the show, whether it's a case of beer or whatever whatever they're going to get in, and they've got their gas, and maybe the guy's taking a chick to the show, so it's double his costs. And the kids might not even have jobs; they might be going on Pop's allowance or something like that.
Sure.
And, so we want to try and keep things as reasonable as possible. And by Sasan kicking in and keeping tour support, it can keep costs down while you're touring on the road. You can keep your costs, your overheads down. And we felt that that's the main reason we did it. And they felt, it's a mutual thing. They feel that Loverboy can help their image,
right?
And so we felt, okay, they're selling clothes and stuff like that, sportswear and all that. And we felt that their image wasn't really, I don't know. It's hard.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's good. I like it. But I've read this won't go in print, but a guy like Dave Marsh, you know Dave, he writes, I mean, he was like extremely critical of the bands locking in with that, and I think what it does...
Felt that it was a sellout?
Yeah, and I think what it does is it promotes, I mean, there's always been a classic split between art and business, not so much in success.
It is a business, like I said.
That's right, yeah, sure.
There are collaborations in where, money and tour support and having the promotion and being able to maybe not use each other. I don't mean that in a derogatory way to
help
say
each other.
We're using Sasan and Sasan's using us, but we're, we're getting great promotion on this tour.
Right.
And we can help sell tickets, which will help sell more records.
Right.
Right?
Sure.
Which helps us. And we don't
feel... While you're on tour,
Exactly. I mean, there's certain things that we looked at that Sasan wanted that we said no. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I'll be frank, it's like when we looked at the thing, there was a lot of areas where they would want to promote in certain aspects or ways of certain promotion where we said, no, that's not suitable. We don't want to go that route. Mm-hmm. We feel that running around and we don't have to be on stage in Sasan clothes.
Right.
We have a very good deal with Sasan, and it works very well for both of us.
Yeah.
Same as when you have a contract with your record company. We have a very good deal with CBS, and we have a good, rapport. They do great promotion with us, and all the people that we work in the field throughout the whole, the whole world, because we're signed worldwide with CBS. Mm-hmm. Epic Sony in Japan, CBS Records in Germany, and wherever, South Africa, Puerto Rico, and it was great. We did one show in Puerto Rico. They had a big convention a couple of years back, and they asked us to be the honor band because we were just breaking, and they were real kind of proud of this new international group from Canada, to come down. So we went down and played down there with Charlie Daniels and a couple of other groups, and they had their convention. So all the countries were meeting there, all the branches from all the countries of CBS Records, and we were pretty nervous because we were just starting, and we played for everybody. And it was a big promotion. We got a lot of people interested. In the group. That was a lot of fun.
That'd be good.
Crazy bunch of people.